Welcome to the Narrate podcast, where we aim to tell God's story with our lives. We'll be continuing to post the Sunday message each week, but we want to dive a little deeper and offer some content to supplement your life with God, and that's where our Beyond Sunday series comes in. Join Adam and Narrate staff as they provide thoughtful discussions, ideas, and interviews that go beyond the message you'll hear on Sunday. I am here with Ron Weins, and Ron, you've been a really key owner at Narrate for a long, long time, and you longer than me, over 10 years, because we met 10 years ago when I came on staff.
Yeah, it's 10-year anniversary coming up, huh?
Coming up in September.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah. I know you have a lot to share with us today about, we met for coffee a couple weeks ago now, and we talked about spiritual journeys and how sometimes those don't always feel great. Sometimes it's hard, and it's a lot of hard work. And we know God is present with us, and sometimes it doesn't feel like that at all.
Yeah.
And so I thought this would be a really good conversation to have. But first, just to kind of maybe talk a little about who you are, how you're involved at Narrate, anything you want to share.
Yeah, I've been here, like you said, over 10 years, and I actually was brought here by our daughter, trying to get her into a church that was relevant to her life, and it brought my wife and I here too, and it was awesome. I'm 66, and I was baptized here at age 60. So
that's right. Yeah,
that was just a real sense of, and I'm not necessarily promoting rebaptism, but in my life it just seemed like I needed a restart, because I did that when I was young, and again, that's a good time to do it, but in my life I felt like I was doing it to please my parents and not my God, and so I wanted to restart. So yeah, that's part of my life here at the church. I hang out in the back. You might see me once in a while with a white tag on, name tag, and just making sure that you find your seats, and then ushering and communion. Communion's been really special the way we're doing it now, and I just really enjoy. I get to meet a lot of you that way and serve you that way, and it's been really awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
What did I guess I knew you were going to come prepared, so I'm like, I'll just ask, what do you have to share with us, and we can go from there.
Sure. Well, what I've observed in the last few years, that there seems to be a renewed interest in attendees, I guess you call them owners of the church, in spiritual formation. And that's in Adam. I mean, I think some of the triggering events, and Adam's talked about a couple of them, or at least one, was COVID in his life and in the church's life. Yeah. That was a biggie. But we've also seen this divisiveness and societal upheaval in our country. I mean, we can't put our trust in really anything out there, because it gets shattered all the time. And so there's that uncertainty in our country. It seems like it's going the wrong way. Whether you're on the right or left, it seems like it's going the wrong way. And then there's this whole world chaos that, I mean, if you dwell on it for very long, it really is a fearful, anxiety-producing thing. So I wouldn't encourage you to do that. But that also is part of why this renewed spirituality, I think, or need for spiritual formation. And then Adam and you, Hannah, have just, you've demonstrated in your own lives the spiritual formation in the whole journey. Adam shared a lot about his journey, wrote a book about it. So that's, and the book is called, It's a Big Tent. And that's a great book. I just finished it.
Oh yeah, it is.
Awesome book. So, little plug there. So for me, in this process, some of those events, some of our world and issues in our country just really brought me back to a yearning for intimacy with God, was reading, in Proverbs 1 verse I read, it said, "For the crooked man is an abomination to the Lord." Woo. But then he says, "But he is intimate with the upright." And I go, I want that. I want to be that close with God. And then there's this word delight or delighting. And I go, so what does that look like? And Psalm 37, which is one of my favorite Psalms. So in 3 and 4, it says, "Trust the Lord and do good, dwell in the land and feed on his faithfulness." I love that. Feed on his faithfulness. Then it says, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart." And I go, delight. There's another word. How do I do that? How do I have an intimate relationship with the Lord, with the triune God?
Yeah.
And how do we delight in each other? Because there's also verses the other way where God delights in us. I go, he delights in us? Woo.
Yeah.
So, but there is always, almost my whole life, it just feels like there's always something holding me back. And so I was trying to figure out what that is, and that's pretty obvious in my life. It's the fear of what it would cost me, It's like, okay, Lord, if I give you my all, are you gonna, am I gonna lose my job? Am I gonna get a cancer diagnosis? Those weird fears, you say, okay, that's gonna test my faith.
Yeah.
So.
Like if you pray for patience, and then you're like, well, what's gonna happen now? Or I'm gonna have to practice.
I'm gonna have to practice it. Yeah. Yep. Long lines at Starbucks. Sorry. Anyways, so, but then I started thinking, but there's also a cost to not seeking, to the Lord with all my heart, my soul, my mind, and my body. So, just weighing that. So what's really important to me, and what was important to me is that I still desired that closeness, that walk with God, because he's the God of the universe, and Jesus is our Savior. He walked on our planet, and the Holy Spirit is working with us and guiding us. So this triune God, I want to know them. So anyways, so that started my spiritual journey. Basically, I started it at the beginning of 2025, so a little over a year ago. I started it mostly with books. Books were good. There are also people along the way that helped me, but books were like Practicing the Way, John Mark Comer. That's a really good one.
That's a good one, yeah.
Yep. The Deeper Life. I ran into that by accident as I was looking for Practicing the Way. I thought, I think it's a deeper something. So then I found this Deeper Life by A.W. Tozer, and that's really good. And then Dallas Willard, of course. After many attempts to finish the book, I finally read it through and finished it, and that was The Divine Conspiracy. It's a good read, but it's so deep, so I just had to stop just going back and rereading the same page over again.
You made it through. That's impressive.
Yeah, I know.
It's
It's a big book, and it's challenging. There's a lot of depth to it.
Yeah.
But all of them had this warning in it, and I was going to just read out of a couple of them.
Sure.
But this warning if you're going down that path of growing with God, getting to know God, there's going to be a time that's kind of a time of darkness. In fact, John Mark Comer, in his book Practicing the Way, he actually says, eventually, as you mature, you will inevitably face, and it's inevitable, face what the ancients call the dark night of the soul. A season where the practices, when he's talking about practices, it's Bible reading, that's solitude, silence, prayer, those kind of things. A season where the practices don't work like they're supposed to. You still practice them, but you don't feel the same connection to God. That's part of the journey.
Yeah.
Another one is book by mistake, The Deeper Life. In here, he says the same thing, pretty much. He says that now under the careful treatment of the Holy Spirit, your life may become dry, tasteless, and to some degree a burden to you. While in this state you will exist by kind of a blind will to live. You will find none of the inward sweetness you have enjoyed before. The smile of God will be for a time withdrawn, or at least hidden from your eyes. So pretty, I go, wow, that's that's kind of scary. But so then I go, okay, what is this dark night of the soul that I'm hearing about? So it's first mentioned by St. John of the Cross in the 16th century, so way back to the 1500s.
Yeah.
Seemed like there were a lot of things that came out of the 1500s.
It does.
People that were really searching, growing their relationship with the triune God, and experiencing different things that they put into words. So his was in a poem, and he described it as a period of intense spiritual crisis or doubt experienced on the path to spiritual growth or union with the divine. It's a time of profound inner turmoil characterized by confusion, helplessness, and a feeling of the withdrawal of God's presence. Wow. That's pretty intense.
That's pretty intense. Just to make some connections, so Teresa of Avila, who I talked about, I don't know when this is going to post, talked about on the 22nd of March, she's from also the 1500s. Yeah. And she mentored John of the Cross.
Wow.
And they worked together, and they started a few like convents and monasteries for people really who wanted to be very intentional with the monastic life and the spiritual life. And so it's kind of a little connection, which I think is cool.
You know, as I was commuting to work, it was a long drive, so I'd listen to a Christian music radio station, and I just noticed that the lyrics in some of the songs seem to indicate people going through this period of darkness. Here's one, the song Honest by Leanna Crawford. She said, I try to pray, but the words aren't coming out the way they used to. Did I lose my faith? God, do I still trust you? I try to worship, but when I would lift my hands, it all just feels so empty. That's pretty dark. And then Hard Fought Hallelujah by Brandon Lake. We've sung that at the up front.
Yeah.
It says, I don't always feel it, but that's when I need it most. I'm going to keep on singing till my soul catches up with my song. There's time when my hands go up freely and times that it costs. There's days when a praise comes out easy and days when it takes all the strength that I have. I'll bring my heartfelt, been through hell, hallelujah. Yeah, and then one more, Desperate. Man, when I heard this song for the first time, I just felt for that singer. I go, how can you be in that state of desperation? But then I experienced it. So anyways, it says, at the end of myself, I'm tired. I've tried all that I know to do. Right now, it's just by a thread that I'm hanging on to you. Redeem this wreckage. Restore my peace. I'm not asking, I'm begging. Oh God, I'm desperate, down on my knees. Send help from heaven, because that's what I need. So there was a period of time where it felt like this person was struggling with being in the presence of God and seeing his love and his action in their life. So, okay. So, yikes. That sounds awful. Why would anybody sign up for this, right? Yeah. And even in my world, I could just go back to the status quo. And there's nothing wrong with that, really. I mean, there's millions of Christians that, I mean, that's fine, really. I mean, it's like, yeah, I do some morning quiet time with the Lord. I'm really happy with that. I go to church, I sing, I worship, and it's all meaningful to me. And that's fine. And that's where I thought, if I run into this darkness period, I might just head back to my status quo, because that was really comfortable. But I couldn't do it. I said, no, Lord, I can't do that. I've been up against this wall so many times that I'm just going to make that commitment, and I desire the intimacy with God more than anything else.
Yeah.
So then it hit. Finally, it might have been triggered. I lost my dad in February of 25. I mean, he passed away. Godly man. Really loved him. So I went into this, shortly after that, went into the spiritual darkness that is described as the dark night of the soul. In fact, by May 6th, I looked back to see, by May 6th of 2025, my journal starts out with this quote, all I can say is this has been brutal. Yeah, it was just a hard time, a really dark time. And So
Yeah.
So now, before I scare you off, all of you listening, looking back, I wouldn't have traded it for anything. And basically, I'm here to encourage you. If any of you are walking through the same season in your spiritual journey, just want you to know it's normal. It's actually healthy for your spiritual formation. And here's some things that helped me through it. So, continue the practices. So, if you're doing this already, continue that, but it's a prayer time. Spend time in prayer. Even if, like the song said, I try to pray, but the words aren't coming out the way they used to. Continue praying. Bible reading. For me especially, the Psalms are really meaningful to me. We've been going through the Psalms a lot. And they just have been great.
I was going to ask you that. How did you find the Psalms or this series? Because they're, I'm looking at this Psalm picture we have on the wall. Like, there are a lot of Psalms that are very lamenting, and anger is presented before God. Even hate is presented before God.
Yeah, and David, he laid it all out. And yeah, there was ones that I had to go to, like, how long, O Lord, how long,
Yeah.
Before I hear your voice again, how long? And there are so many. And what I really, and that's one I wanted to talk about here too, that's the next, well, silence and solitude are other practices. Just spend time alone with God and searching, asking, begging, And then the next one I have is stay with attending church and being in community with believers. One thing that's been really meaningful to me is that I is actually when Leslie or whoever is up front invites us to read as a group, as a community, the Psalms. She has picked out a Psalms, and so many of those I know already, and they're really meaningful. But just it equalizes us. Suddenly we're not focused on ourselves, but we're focused on God and on worshiping and answering Him as a community. It's not. Like I said, it just puts us on all the same ground. We're all worshiping the same God. It's not about, oh, my needs, Lord, my needs. It's us together. So,
can I ask you a couple questions?
Sure.
What is silence and solitude? I feel like is one of these phrases we love to talk about. What does that look like for you? Is that when you're driving? Is that on a walk? Is that in a chair in the morning? Like, how does that play out in your life?
Yeah, I would. I see a difference between silence and solitude. I do a lot of silent stuff. Just in my morning, I just pray. I spend time reading the Bible, praying, but then I have a just time of silence, which is really hard. It takes practice because so many distracting thoughts come in.
Yeah.
But I just want to hear from the Lord, what He's thinking, what He's telling me. If I hear His voice, then I just, want to know what He thinks about all this. And so I usually meditate on what I've been reading. That's to me a silence. Solitude, and I don't know for sure. I've talked to Adam a little bit about solitude, but to me it's actually getting away. Dallas Willard talks about minimum you should do a week, a year, just getting away. I go,
wow.
Who can find that time?
Who does that? That's very impressive.
Yeah, my brother-in-law, he's a pastor, and his church allows him to go to this camp where you can stay at a cabin for free for a week.
Wow.
Just that whole idea of solitude, and he takes them up on it. It's usually not in nice weather. It's usually in January, but and it's in Kentucky, so it's probably not too bad. But anyways, he gets away, and he said it's so meaningful. And so solitude to me is where you're just, maybe you have something that you want to study, so you just spend that time on something of a topic that you just want to talk to God about. So I hope we can spend some time down the road exploring solitude because I have some thoughts on that. That'd be great. But that's how I see the difference, silence and solitude. One is short term and usually, a could be 10 minutes in the morning, but it's just time to listen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I always struggle, I don't know if this will be helpful to anyone or not, but that time in solitude, I think for me, when I do that, I've never done a week. I've only done a couple hours intentionally, on a hike or on a bike ride or something. And it feels anti-productive to me.
Yeah.
And so I resisted it for a long time because I always want to, my thing is podcasts. I want to be learning. I want to be doing something. Or I want to be accomplishing something. And someone told me, well, it sounds like you need to reframe what productive means, because an hour-long hike by yourself without a podcast in your ear, focusing on what God might be telling you, is insanely productive in terms of a well-rounded, meaningful life with God. And I went, oh, I'm that American that I have to even put it in terms of productivity. Yep. But that was helpful to think. I mean, I might not be getting, 10 items checked off my list, but this is incredibly productive and meaningful.
Yeah, I agree. And if you can get away from the distractions, from your productive life, if you can get away from that, I think that makes it more meaningful. I really like to be out in nature. I love wildlife. I'm a birder.
Birds. Yes, birds.
I love birds. And they bring me a lot of peace and strength. And there's a lot of even in the scriptures it talks about birds, and sparrows and eagles and wings like eagles and stuff. So there's a lot of connection there that when I see an eagle soaring, it just brings back some of the scriptures, especially in the Psalms. So I like to get away in solitude. It is difficult for a long period of time. I think if I started doing that, I still would. I'd like to do a week, although I have no idea how I could do that for a week. But maybe start with a day, just get away for a day. Might be a hike, might be whatever, but just getting away. And even when you're out, it's hard. I mean, if you're at an Airbnb on a lake, you're going to hear motorboats and you're going to have all these distractions. So try to find a quiet place that you can just be alone with God. So the other thing that really helped me, it sounds kind of weird, but it's exercise. Yeah, it's just like,
I don't think that's weird. That's really key.
Yeah, it's key. And I think the key part of exercise, well, first of all, just the positive chemicals, you might say, the endorphins and different things that it kicks in and really helps mentally and physically. And if you can't exercise, something that works for me is the deep breathing. You hear about that a lot. Just take a deep breath. You hear that, and it really works. I mean, I did that while I was going through this. I found myself in the mornings just taking 5 to 10 really deep breaths, and I got to thinking, well, that's what you're getting when you're exercising. You're exercising enough that you're getting that deep breathing. So if you're not exercising, you're mimicking that exercise benefit from the deep breathing. So I would just encourage you to do that. The other thing that really helped is that just share your journey with a trusted, godly friend, a person, someone that, just doesn't want to know all the details, but is just there with you, present and willing to just, lift your name up to Jesus and pray over you. And that really helped me. I was at a point in the middle of this that after service, I just went up to Adam. First time and only time I've ever done this, but I went up to Adam and I said, can you just pray for me? And he did. And actually, it made a huge difference. That might have even been like the turning point in this. It was that powerful. Wow. And it was just a prayer. I didn't tell him all the details or anything. I just said, I just really need a prayer from you. That's and then, so that really excites me. Now when I see that there's a group of prayer warriors, I call them, that are willing to meet with anybody who wants to pray. They're up in front now, and I think that's a great addition that Adam just introduced, Adam and Hannah, and that's really awesome. And I would encourage you, if you're going through this journey, either go up and pray with one of them, or again, find a trusted friend. So.
Yeah, I think that's important. Just what you said, I wanted to expand on really quickly. It doesn't have to be where you sit down and talk for 2 hours and share everything. You can do that.
Yeah.
And there are some relationships where that is helpful to just say everything. And also just to say, hey, briefly in 10 seconds, this is kind of how I'd like prayer for, or what I would like prayer for and be prayed for, is also really meaningful too. You don't have to like spill your guts.
Yeah.
In fact, on Sunday morning, it's probably not like the best
Yeah.
time to have
Exactly.
a 2-hour conversation. Well, yeah, it's not. But just even that quick interaction for prayer can be really meaningful, and it doesn't have to be a big,
Yeah, just to
long
know.
thing.
And, in Scripture even validates that when it says the prayer of a righteous person availeth much. So, and of course, then my mind goes to, well, who's righteous around here? But that, I don't think we're talking about people that you just genuinely know that they're followers of Christ and that they really care about you, and just go and talk to them.
Yeah.
And they can pray with you. So,
That's good.
So then, in this journey, again, I wouldn't have done it. I would have done it over again if knowing where I'm at now. And here's how I'm measuring this. I mean, we like to measure outcomes of things that we do. And so I like to measure my spiritual growth by how close am I getting to the fruits of the Spirit. I mean, just say, love, joy, peace, gentleness. Just start with those. Does that describe your heart? And mine wasn't. Even when I was walking with Jesus, and worshiping with the triune God, I use that as a measuring stick, because it says, look at the fruits. Jesus would always say, look at the fruits. And so I thought, well, what are fruits? Well, fruit of the Spirit. And I go, man, mine's fear and anxiety, some agitation, and then a guilt for worrying about fear and anxiety. I shouldn't have that. And so I'm not there yet, but that's what I'm using to measure. I said, do I have peace in my heart? Is there love flowing out of me? Am I gentle in my words? And do I have joy? That journal I was talking about that I referred to, I started that in January of 25, and I wrote on the front, my journey to joy.
Ooh.
But I'm not there yet. This is really a lot of work.
Yeah.
But I've seen people, you probably met people too that just have that joy in their heart, that childlike faith in God. I go, how can I have faith like a child that's just so dependent on the parent or adult for almost everything until they're older? But how can I have faith like a child? That's next steps. That's what I put down. So where's the next step in my journey? One of the things I ran into during this time was, whose voice am I hearing? Is it the voice of God? And what does that sound like? I mean, we all hear about, people that have done terrible things, and they say, yeah, God told me. So it's certainly not that voice.
Right.
But still, I mean, I feel like I hear a small, quiet voice once in a while, not very often, that guides me. But how do I know? I mean, Lauren Daigle in her song says, I keep fighting the voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Those are voices. We get voices all the time. They're just, so does it come from my fearful or anxious heart? My voice says, no, don't go there because that's scary, So how do I know it's the voice of God? But it's really important when I read, especially in the Old Testament, how they said, well, this has happened because you guys drifted away and you don't listen to my voice anymore. I've read that over and over again. God the Father made it really, really important to Peter, James, and John that went with Jesus to the mountain when his glory, his body was transformed so they could see him that way. And God said, "This is my beloved Son. Listen to him." That's what he emphasized at the end. Listen to him. So I want to listen to him, but how do I know? How do I discern his voice? So I just had 2 books show up today. I'm a reader. I like to read, especially this time of year, not in the summertime. This time of year I love to read. And so when I talked to Adam about discerning the voice of God, he recommended a couple of books, and I just got them today, so I can hardly wait to read. So we'll have another podcast on the voice of God.
What books came
One is
today?
the I don't know. One is Hearing God by Dallas Willard.
Okay.
That's a good one. The other is A Strange Conversation or something like that by Tyler something. Sorry. That one's brand new to me. I don't know anything about it.
I think
but
Scott
it's basically
read that recently.
having
It's like strange to familiar or something?
Yeah.
Familiar to strange.
Familiar to strange or something. I don't know. I know. Sorry. I just got it today. I should know it. But no, it's but basically it's having a conversation with God. I guess we can do that. That's what the Psalms are, is a conversation back to God for what he has answered, for what he has said. So, and this is just like, I don't even know if I ever get this, but I'd like to get to a point where I have, and absolute's probably not a good word, but just a trust and obedience to God's voice and commands. I mean, faith, I told Adam, after this voice thing that I want to figure out, then let's move on to faith, because my faith is so small. It's just, I mean, and it was common. I mean, look at Peter. I always think of Peter when he's taking that first step out of the boat, when Jesus says, "Yeah, come on over. If you ask me it's really me, let's demonstrate it. Come on, let's go." And he actually took a few steps. So the miracle started. He was right in the middle of something really cool. He was walking on water. Yeah. And then he just started doubting. He goes, "These waves are getting tall, Lord. Wow, here comes the wind. Okay, I'm getting fearful." And he starts sinking. And then what does Jesus say to him? "Why did you doubt, Peter? Oh, you of little faith." And that just sticks with me. Like, that's what God would probably be saying to me a lot. I think he'd be reaching in the water and say, "Ron, oh, you little faith, why did you doubt?" And I want to be where I go skipping across the water and giving Jesus a big hug when I get there. It's like, we made it, we did it, way to go. But anyways, that's my life dream. We'll see. Part of my journey. We'll just see how it goes. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to share. I just wanted to be an encouragement, not a dark time, not something to be afraid of. Just a time that maybe, and an outcome from that is God really wants you. He wants to be close. This is just a time in your journey, like John Mark Comer said, it's inevitable if you really take it seriously. And like I said, you don't have to. You can say, "No, I don't want to take that big step." It's a big step. Look at the rich ruler, young ruler. He had his life great. Yeah. He was rich. He had lots of possessions. From youth, he followed all of the commands. He was doing everything right. And Jesus says, "You do. You got it. You rock this. But tell you what, if you want to follow me, why don't you get rid of all those possessions and then follow me?" So those possessions had a tug on that young ruler's life, and he couldn't do it. But I'm sure he still went on to follow those commands and be what he would consider a righteous person. But anyways, we can do that. I don't want to say you can't do this, but I just noticed that many of you are making that commitment. You've heard Adam, you've heard Hannah, you've heard the talks about the practices, prayer, some of our things that we're doing, more and more of, communion, all those things. It just seems like we're, as a community, a church community, we're getting that real interest in going deeper in our walk with the Lord. So just want to encourage you, encourage you to find someone to pray for you if you get into a situation. I can do it, but we've got the staff that would be willing and able to do that, and then those up in the front too. So that's what I like to leave with.
Well, thank you. Thanks for sharing your journey and being an encouragement for people that maybe aren't feeling like their journey or their work they're putting in is meaningful, or like it still is. Still is.
Keep doing it.
Keep doing it. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Very much,
Thank you.
If you'd like to learn more about Narrate Church, find us online at narratechurch.org.
You can also look us up on Facebook or Instagram. Thanks for listening.